It is. He's just allowing
Knight f4.
Knight f4.
He's blundered Knight f4 and it's mate.
Yeah, Hikaru sees it. He's like,
Hikaru
what?
can't believe it.
Me? He looked at the screen.
Taking another swig from that, I think it's called a stein, Stein. Yes. I learned that word recently. It's like a big, big mug.
Yes, but usually you drink beer out of the stein. So
no,
I don't know what he's drinking. That is an old school chess reference, a good one at that. What a legendary player. But c5 is a good move. Hikaru played it before. And I just have to say really quickly here that Hikaru Nakamura, he's looking poised. He's looking like he literally doesn't care. And he's definitely not fazed by playing Magnus Carlsen.
He definitely is, and you can just see it in his body language. We've tried to put less of an accent on body language. We don't have the ultimate Hikaru expert, Danny Wrench, here to guide us, but still, I mean, you don't need more than a perfunctory glance to just sense that the confidence right now is in Florida. It's not in Norway. And Magnus Carlsen, he's got 10 more minutes in the 5+1 to chip into this lead.
He does, and I just want to give a shout out to the over 140,000 of you watching on Twitch and YouTube. We appreciate it. I think the players, they love the support, even though this is a stressful time for them. But rook to b1, played by Magnus. He is putting some stress down the b file because the queen on b6 is under attack behind it, the pawn on b7, and the b5 square is just one that the rook would like to jump to. Queen c6, not possible right now because knight e5 is a fork. The queen goes back to c7. And at the very least, Danya, black had a kind of retreat for the last couple moves, and white has this healthy 2 pawns in the center and is targeting the pawn on b7.
And I guess Hikaru believes in the pressure that he's exerting on white's center. From a stylistic perspective, I think this is right up Magnus's alley. He loves these types of positions. Practically speaking, I think he's got a slight edge. And like I said, this type of position is where Hikaru came close to losing. So he's going to have to continue being precise, and I think we might see a change of opening against the Catalan in the 3+1 segment.
And in their third head-to-head SEC final, this will be the first win against Magnus in any time segment. So Hikaru in Blitz against Magnus, he has not won those time controls. He is going to win this one because there's at max this game and another remaining. So it looks like Hikaru is going to take a lead heading into the shorter time controls.
It most certainly does, and he piles up on the d4 pawn, which is currently safely defended by the knight. The problem is that if you try to jump into e5, you take your eyes off of the pawn, and the d7 rook just has this nice parking spot on d6. You can keep chasing it, but that doesn't really lead anywhere. Or does it? Magnus sinks his teeth into b5.
I like that move. Why not? That's a good square. You force the trade, no more tension. And b6 played quickly by Hikaru. That pawn now is targeted by this rook. The d4 pawn well defended, but down in the e4 pawn, that feels just a bit loose. And if black can induce the move e4 to e5, then the knight on f6 hops to d5 where it protects the b6 pawn.
We've talked about this in these types of structures. That's precisely what Hikaru is trying to engineer. And Magnus says, I'm not playing e5, I'm playing d5 first, and now I think he's going to play e5, basically filling the cavity with a pawn before pushing the pawn to e5. And then he gets this d4 square for his knight. He takes on b6 first.
He might take on f6. Okay, he doesn't, but I was looking at a possible exchange sacrifice on the f6 square. Instead, Magnus pushed to e5. Now, the knight going to d4 is excellent for white. The knight goes to c3. Maybe there's queen g4, Danya, with knight f5 to follow. So maybe there's a rook sack on b1 for the attack.
Oh my gosh, and maybe another rook sack on g6 later on. And literally, this is exactly what Magnus needs to do more of. He needs to take these tactical risks, but he just doesn't believe in himself tactically thus far in the match, and he lets another opportunity go by the wayside.
Yeah, I think knight d4 was a huge attack. It looked very strong, but he wants to bring his second rook to b6. So after the queen slides away to c8, the rook on b1 goes to b6. There could still be a rook sack along that rank over there, and knight d4 is to follow.
But see, the problem is that you've given Hikaru a tempo. Now, what is he going to use this tempo for? I think he's going to go rook d7 to c7, not so much to infiltrate, although that does become a big threat, but also to involve the queen in the defense. And the move knight d4, it loses a lot of its luster because the knight doesn't have access to f5. The queen's going to be controlling that square.
It's a really good point because knight d4 to f5 was the threat. Now the queen covers. So rook c7 looks like a good option because knight c5 back, Danya, giving up the a5 pawn.
Whoa! Playing for a win.
Passer.
He's playing for a win. He wants to take control of the initiative here.
But sometimes playing for a win is playing for a loss. Right? This is a double-edged decision. All 3 results possible. And if I am Magnus here, I'm trying to find a way to stop that pawn before it becomes a runaway train.
And it's supported by 2 rooks. The pawn is guarded from a distance. Maybe rook b6 to d6 can be considered. He slides his queen into c4, but Hikaru easily repels that move with rook c7. That's the great thing about being doubled. The other rook still protects d4. This is anybody's game.
And knight b7 becomes a huge threat in discovery against the queen on c4, hitting the rook on a5. So you have to watch out for that. You could play rook a5 to b5, for example, and then rook b8 is available, but you still have to watch out for this passer. The black queen can jump into the action. You should point out knight b and d7.
And d7. Available. You can actually attack both of white's rooks. And, I mean, let's not forget about the passed d-pawn. That's still in play, and it might remind us of its existence on this very move.
Queen b4. What a choice. If pawn to d3 it goes knight d3 instead, using the knight to hop in, and that rook can go to c3, the queen can go to g4, knight f4 check is available. This is scary for white.
Black's position is filled to the brim with tactical potential. And what's not filled to the brim? Look at Magnus's clock. He is again down 2 minutes, and the position is just getting more and more out of hand.
It is. He's just allowing
knight f4.
Knight f4.
He's blundered knight f4, and it's mate.
Yeah, Hikaru sees it. He's like,
Hikaru can't believe it.
Me? He looked at the screen.
This is basic Brian, Robert. This is an idea that occurs across all openings. This is universal. And you can't step back to the first rank because of rook c1 with mate. It's over.
Yeah, no, Hikaru saw it, and look at him. He's like, are you serious? Am I really playing Magnus?
This is all you got, he says to Magnus. He's going to be up 4 points, and Magnus has got a match on his hands, doesn't he?
Oh, a match. I mean, he's going to have to work hard to stay in
rook
this
c1,
match
queen
at this
h3.
Point.
Oh, look at that mate.
Yeah.
Oh,
done.
It's over.